Welcome to SAT Media. I'm Chrissy, and tonight I'm joined by Ben Rowley, also known as Plant-Based Ben. Thanks for joining me, Ben.
Great to be here.
I'm excited that you are coming to the studio. I really want to start with how Ben Rowley became Plant-Based Ben, the famous Plant-Based Ben.
Famous, thank you. That's really kind.
What is
maybe generous?
Like, what happened? Like, how did that?
Oh God, it's a long story. I think I'll give you the medium version of it. Okay, so I was 44 years old when I transitioned into Plant-Based Ben. So leading up to that, like, why did I decide to do that fitness transformation? Why did I make that shift? What was the motivation? It was multifold, but I was 44. I was consulting again in business. I wasn't happy doing that. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, as they say. I was out of shape. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't really feel like I had any purpose. Yeah.
That's rough.
So it was rough, so I was just kind of on that 9 to 5, caught in that 9 to 5 treadmill at that time. Okay. And I was also doing a lot of spiritual seeking. Who am I? How do I raise the vibration, my vibration to make, and I honestly had a vision. I had this vision that I want to change the world. I was very passionate about the environment.
Okay.
I got my degree in environmental science. Yes. Yeah, so I wanted to, I looked at it and said, my God, we're tearing down the rainforest. That doesn't seem like, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
The animals, I love animals. I've always loved animals. And I'm like, well, all right, I love my dog and I pet my dog. People have pet pigs, but they also eat pigs. It's kind of like, I just was seemed like a disconnect. So I was a big animal lover as well. And so I had all these motivations because part of me was just, I was sick and tired. I was passionate about the environment and the animals. I was passionate about health, even though I wasn't taking care of my own.
Really?
Yeah. I've always had interest in health, but it was just, I was always plateaued. I always try to do a transformation and I'd try it and a week later I'd give up and, so I was going through all of that. And so all of a sudden at 44, all of it kind of came together at once. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I'm working some dead-end corporate contract over and over. I've been seeking, but I kind of felt like I was going in circles. Mm-hmm. I did have a passion. I wanted to, do something about like making the world a better place. And so when I saw like, what could I do that's going to make the environment better, people's health better, and the animals, it was a vegan diet,
Yeah.
And no, I think we just lost a big portion of the audience right there, but I'll break it down. Don't leave yet.
Yeah, don't leave yet, you guys. It's actually good.
There's a twist. So, stay tuned. So basically, it was really interesting because I went to school for it, and I realized it's a lesser footprint on it. It doesn't necessarily have to go to global warming, but for the idea of the ocean pollution in the rainforest and the way we're treating and doing agriculture just didn't seem like the right path. So I'm like, what can I do? I don't want to go back and be an environmental lawyer, or I don't want to be like on some, tugboat going around some ship in the ocean, like trying to save the dolphins or whatever. So I just said,
just so you know, we value dolphins.
We do. Yes, we do. Very much.
Careful.
That's true. Love dolphins. And so what I decided to do was promote. I said, gosh, if I could just have a platform. And I was in Mexico at the time. I was in Tulum, Mexico. And there was this vegan fest, and there was these guys that were on stage, and they were like talking and saying, hey, this is how you do it, and here's how I transformed. And they looked healthy, and they looked vibrant, and they were like making a difference in the world. I'm like, I want to do that. But one small problem, I'm not in shape. And they are. They're all like fitness people. And so I said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to quit my job, or at least scale back my hours. And I did it.
Wow.
And I said, and I'm just going to give myself 3 months to lose the weight, to get fit. And maybe this will give me a platform to try to raise awareness to make the world a better place.
That's wild.
Thanks.
That's commitment.
It was purpose.
So did you have a platform to start with when you started?
Nothing. I didn't know what Instagram was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's just what got, like, that was what's in your heart to do, and you just went for it.
It was my motivation. And don't get me wrong, I was also single at the time. And it was kind of like, all right, well, maybe it'll be better off if I lose a little body fat. And,
Open up some doors for me.
Might open up some doors, especially when you're in your mid-40s and, you start to lose your edge a bit. So
you gotta compete with those younger guys.
Yes, I know, and I was losing it. So I kind of felt like there was all this motivation at once. And literally all those, how many times we try something and then it's like you lose it. I guess I'll start again next week, right?
Yeah.
This was like out the window. Something hit so hard. It was like seeing a picture of myself. I rewatched this documentary called Earthlings, which really shows how the animal agriculture system works.
Okay.
And it's really devastating when people think, oh, but it's grass-fed and it's humane and they're cage-free eggs, and we have all these good buzzwords that make us feel good about the food we eat. But when you really look at it more closely, you realize, oh gosh, if that's a cage-free, I would never want to be in that environment. And you find out it's really awful conditions that these animals live in. And it was just a combination of everything came together at once, and I said, that's it. This is my time. I felt the pain of how I was looking. I felt the pain of what was going on in the world. And I felt the excitement of like, this is it. I'm going to make a difference. So I literally went home. I got a clear plan. I got a meal plan. I got a coach, basically. And I wrote down all my goals, hand measuring device for my fat. And I went from 18% body fat down to 10% body fat in 3 months.
What?
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I never done it before. I didn't know I had abs,
And so we're gonna backtrack really quick though.
Yeah, sure.
Did your family and friends think you were nuts?
Oh, they're so used to me being nuts.
Oh, wait, so you're a little bit trying new things?
Yes.
Backtrack more,
maybe. They were surprised. My mother thought it was a Photoshop picture. She's like, where'd you get that photo? I'm like, Mom, it's the photo. They were floored, because truly it was also one of the first, I've had some successes in my life, but from a physical standpoint, it was the first time I ever really dedicated myself to something like that with a laser focus.
Wow. So you were just a regular diet before this, or like
good
fast
question.
food? Because in my mind, like that, if I go from like what I'm eating now to vegan, like that would be really hard. And I actually eat fairly healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, but maybe you need to check that out for me.
Sure.
But I would have a hard time. So it just like went hardcore. So like, what were you eating? Like, to kind of give us a picture of how that happened.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like using the word vegan too often.
Got it.
I'm plant-based Ben. It's like, for one reason, it's got such a stigma to it.
True.
Secondly, vodka and potato chips is vegan. Like, you can drink vodka and eat potato chips, you're eating vegan. All vegan means is it comes from an animal. So
vegan means
it comes from an animal. It's all it means. It has nothing to do with health.
Got it.
Veganism is technically more like a moral standing. Like, you stand, I don't want to harm animals. Why cause harm to an animal if I don't have to?
So it's not really a diet, it's a way.
It's a lifestyle and it's a belief system. Yeah, it's not
okay.
really a diet, but eating plant-based is definitely a diet, And so I was already vegan for 2 years before that, but I was eating Amy's pizzas and those big dark chocolate bars and drinking kombuchas throughout the day.
Got it.
Eating out for Indian food and Thai food and so I was
delicious.
it is delicious. It's just like, all right, I just eat the versions of those foods that don't have chicken in them, right? And you just learn how to navigate it. Once you do, it's easy to do. But
so you were already
I was already vegan
before the full.
I was
plant-based.
right, but I
Got
wasn't
it.
a healthy vegan. So
Got
once
it.
I learned to make that shift, then I dialed things in, and that's what made all the difference.
Okay, so it became went from a diet to a whole life transformation.
Yeah.
That had physical transformation, spiritual and emotional transformation as well.
Oh, huge.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So we go from Ben to plant-based. And when did the persona and that journey when did that start? Did you record all of this on Instagram?
Yeah, I've actually got a cool 3-minute video that records, because I was so determined that I was gonna do this. I literally, like I said, I told my work I'm only going half time and I'm not coming I'm back full time.
And what were you doing?
I was doing recruiting. I was recruiting in the corporate sector. I used to own a business. Prior to that,
you're probably really good at that.
thank you. Yeah, I had my own business doing it for a long time, and then for 5 years we had a company, and then that was an outsourcing company. Sold that. I traveled around the world, and then when I felt okay, I need some more cash, and so I went back to it. So here I am back at this corporate grind again. So it was just like, all right, that's enough. And so, yeah, all that motivation carried me into plant-based Ben. And so here I am. I've got this before and after picture, and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I'm like, maybe I can inspire some people. That was the whole goal. And I realized one of the vegan pages put my before and after picture on their page. It was like a big page with like 800,000 followers called Vegan Community. And when I posted it there, I didn't know what was going to happen, but hundreds, I think it was 2,000 people flooded to my page to follow me.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was like they saw
that.
that. people were like, I want to find out what he did. And so they followed me, and then that just kind of was like, wow, okay. So people see my picture, they're curious, and they wanted to follow me. And that's really where people just seeing me on Instagram and seeing my picture is kind of what led to give me that platform that I'm super, super grateful to have.
And so now you've been able to make a career and everything off of this inspiration to be your best self.
Yeah, it's been great. I've had clients. I basically decided to coach. People say, can you coach me? And like I said, I was into fitness in the past, and about years and years prior, I got a certification as a personal trainer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and did it for about 6 months as a trainer. But I wasn't fit like I was, after my transformation. I never got to that level. But I had a fundamental understanding of fitness, and, I could do it as a job. So when I had that, and then I decided to coach, and I help people reverse heart disease, and I didn't do much. It was just guiding them to go on a plant-based diet, reversing heart disease, getting off medications, and even other diseases where the clients I've had have had success reversing even more significant disease.
Wow.
And it's very, people can reverse almost anything on a plant-based diet. It's actually amazing, some of the stories that we have out there about diabetes and all the major killers in our world.
That's wild. We need to talk more. I need to learn
Anytime.
I told you that how shocked I was. For those of you who don't know, he sells this amazing package and of instruction, and I was following one of your lives over the day. Yeah. And you're like, and you don't need to be vegan to do it. I was like, what? Now you tell me. So if you're not all the way in on the plant-based vegan thing, you can still learn more from him about that.
I'd like to say, because a lot of people say, oh, it's way too hard. I hear that like 9 out of 10 times. I think we heard it twice tonight. Yeah. Oh, it's too hard. I tried it before. But yeah. But the idea is, instead of thinking like, I'm going to go vegan, think of, how can I add a little bit more of this good stuff in my diet and take a little bit of the less other stuff out? And then you start to make that shift gradually.
Yeah, so I told you I went completely dairy-free for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it was, it was for health reasons, but what I found is trying to not replace those things, I guess. Trying to not find the dairy-free version of things. Like just being happy with things that are naturally dairy-free instead of being like the fake this and the fake that.
Yeah, a lot of those fake products could be good for transition, but they're usually not healthy solutions long term. Yeah, that's for sure.
That's so funny. So, okay, so I mean, I haven't been, we just became good friends recently.
Yeah.
And I had followed you before that.
Yes.
And even in the time I've been following you, I've just noticed a little bit like the focus changing. And I guess I'll let you kind of talk about where, even was it 2 years ago though it started shifting? Or?
Yeah. I'd say about a little over a year ago, kind of officially shifted, where I came out of the closet in regards to talking about the truth and what's happening out there with the pandemic.
That's wild.
Yeah, because honestly, it's like when I went to start this platform, I wanted to raise awareness for the animals, for making the world a safer, healthier place. And then when I saw what was happening with the pandemic and realizing that, we're being forced, in essence, or with these products, the vaccines, people are being forced into complying to take them. But I saw the bigger picture of what really was going on, that there's a global transformation happening.
Yeah.
And I said, if I am aware of what's going on, I have the responsibility to speak out and say something about it. And it was just burning me inside. I couldn't sleep well. I wasn't myself. I wasn't living in integrity. I wasn't living with my thoughts, my words, and my actions were not aligned. I would do this research, but I wouldn't speak out about it. I knew the truth, but I wouldn't speak out about it because I was scared. I had clients.
A major separation between Ben Rowley and plant-based Ben. All of a sudden that was separated again because you weren't being your true self on this platform.
I wasn't, because also, if we want to protect health, and that was one of the major platforms, right? We have to be able to control what goes into our body. If we can't control what goes into our body or our body of our children, we can't control our health. And secondly, if you want to stand up for anything, I don't care what type of rights you want to stand up for, whether it's the animals or anything else you believe in. If we lose our freedom, we're not going to have the ability to stand up for those.
Amen.
So that is that transition. And for the last year plus, I've really only been focusing, with a few exceptions, on some of the plant-based promotion projects, really just focusing on helping people to see the bigger picture of what's going on. From the best that I see it, the bigger picture, connecting the dots, and really helping people to see that it's critical that we unite together, everybody.
That's right.
And really see what's going on and come out and say, okay, this is enough. This current system isn't working. This current process isn't working, and it's time to come together, say no, and find a better way.
Yeah. So how has that gone for you, platform-wise, as somebody who runs an account, much smaller than yours, but runs an account? It's hard to not appease your audience, and it sounds like you were heading a direction that most of your audience, if you're going to put them in a category, was probably not super pleased about. What did that look like?
Oh boy, that's one of the things that was really so significant. Is because, not to generalize, but it was really fascinating, and we've got an audience, and in this vegan community, you've got a split.
Okay.
As we do in society right now, right? There's a big split. Those who are totally for the main narrative and think everything that the government's doing is right in line, and then you have the people who realize, don't trust the government. They realize there's something much more significant going on. And in the vegan community, there was a split because, from one standpoint, the vegans saw the documentaries. They know that big pharma is corrupt. They know that the animal agriculture industry is very corrupt. So they've pulled the curtain, past the curtain, and looked and seen, these are corrupt institutions. And therefore they understand that, okay, we can't trust these institutions. But for some reason, a lot of them, the light bulb didn't go off when this big pharma push came out. Not at all. And they're like, it's like, say no to GMOs, say no to animal agriculture, say no to this. But say yes to those products created by criminal convicted felons.
Do you think it has a lot to do with fear?
It has to do with two things. One of it is fear, but it's also a lot of people who are on the side believe in more of including everybody. They believe more in the environmental issues, and that seems to be more of a democratic left-wing type of approach. And I think a lot of the people had seen that, like, okay, well, Biden's going to come in, he's going to do the Green New Deal, and he's going to do all these great things that are going to help the environment, and we trust him. Where this other guy, on the other end,
big orange man,
the big orange guy, he just wants to, burn coal, and he doesn't care about the environment or children or minorities. And so there's that stigma. So anything about questioning the narrative was associated with Donald Trump. And so anything that had to do with questioning the mainstream narrative, people decided to say, no, I'm not going to question it. That's a Trump thing. That's a radical right-wing thing. So therefore, I'm just going to close my eyes. I'm not going to question. I'm going to stay comfortable in this community that also agrees with me.
That's so sad, because it's almost like they gave up what they were really passionate about just to stay with the narrative. And that's really sad. Well,
it's a sense of hypnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it happens in so many other groups as well. So here you are speaking out. You mentioned thousands of followers, but you keep going. What are the fruits you've seen?
Well, one thing that was beautiful is, first of all, before how do I say this? people admired my picture. Wow, that was great. You lost a lot of weight. I really admire what you did.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was just great to say, people say, I really respect you now. And there's a sense of respect. I really am so grateful for what you're doing. Thank you for having the courage to speak up. And I got some of those before about speaking up with the animals and things like that, but this was a whole new level. But the point is, the best thing I got from this is just integrity. I feel it was so freeing when I started speaking out, and that's why I encourage anybody who's listening or like maybe hesitant, that yes, okay, maybe you lose a couple followers, but guess what? You're gonna gain a lot more, and you're gonna wanna interact with those people. You're gonna want those, that's your family. And
your freedom family.
Your freedom family, yes.
It's so good.
It is, it's this giant awakening of people who are coming together for this huge awakening that we're undergoing.
So how has that, I know a lot of times with the social issues, especially with the one when you lean more left, there's a comfort. You belong to something, and they're really good about making you feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah.
But how has it been for you? Have you felt in any way not welcome as you kind of started leaning towards more closer to the middle right side, and with just the way you're seeing things and stuff like that?
I always try to say, like, I'm independent. Right. I don't have a perspective. I'm not Republican. I'm not this. I'm not that. I try to lose all the labels because I really think this is a humanity issue, right?
But then let me rephrase it this way then.
Yeah.
Has anyone okay, so you're independent, but there's still two
Well,
sides,
however, there was a however to that.
But how has the left been crueler to you in that, and the right been welcoming, or how does that look?
Not
respects you more for your moves.
It was very interesting when this first a year ago. There was people, you lost me, goodbye, unfollow, and I'd get those comments like pretty common on my posts and things like that. And I would respond back and say, you could unfollow me, or you could go to my Telegram group and look at the documentary I put in and see for yourself, like the information. You can evaluate this for yourself. I don't want to ask anyone to believe what I believe. I want people to research. So yeah, there was some of that. And there was also some people coming out and saying, I see what you're saying, but I didn't at first. And that is the most rewarding thing of all.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it is. And there is more of, I guess when you say right side, I just think it's more of like, people call it freedom fighter. I'm like, yeah, I am fighting for freedom, but shouldn't we all be?
Amen. I don't consider the freedom movement this new freedom movement a right thing, or I truly believe it's the most unifying thing out there.
I agree.
It absolutely is, and I totally agree with that. And you are so fantastic at perceiving, better than I for sure, just how people perceive things, and you're so sensitive to that. And I think that's one reason why you are, who people want to follow. I think it's amazing that you're able to do it. It's really neat to see you go out of your way to make sure that people feel valued and seen and paying attention to that. It's definitely admirable. And I've learned, we've had lots of conversation. I take lots of notes.
Back at you.
We take lots of notes.
I'm learning. Yeah, I'm equal, if not a lot more from you. So, this is great. And I love the idea where I'm not familiar with the local politics or the foundation of some of these principles, and I'm realizing that it's great to wake people up, but now what do we do? And that's why I love this connection that we have and getting more locally involved, because I'm starting to understand, okay, now we've got some more people on our team. Let's go take action. And
it's important, making sure that whatever you are passionate about, that you have the freedom to do that and to stand up for it, right? And so it's the tangible ways of getting involved and making those things happen. And that's what's really great about America. And politics aren't as scary as they seem. And plant-based is not as scary.
It's not as scary as
it seems.
See, and that's the thing, is the beauty is that this is uniting humanity from so many different perspectives. At some of these Hope for Humanity Fest, the first one that we put on, we had people come up, and there was this lesbian couple, and they had shaved hair, and it was one of them had dyed pink hair, you know, and it's like they're like, yeah, we're here, we believe in freedom, and we're vegan, and these other people are like, yeah, I've got a Trump hat on and a Trump shirt on, and you know,
my gun.
yeah, exactly, and it's like arm in arm, and we're like skipping down the yellow brick road together.
It is super cool.
It's so cool because, and it breaks the mold. It's not a one-party issue.
Absolutely, and this is more now more than ever before. You know, the fact that we're recording this on MLK Day.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
it's just really cool because it's such a. I was listening to I Had the Dream speech today, and I got so emotional because it just was like, oh, we're here again.
That's how I felt.
Like we're here again.
Yeah.
And just hearing you say like, this is such a unifying thing, and you're so spot on. It is so spot on. I loved seeing your journey and hearing more about your journey and how you've been able to take something, become the best version of you, help people become the best version of them, and now you're taking it to a whole new level and helping America to become the best version of itself. Like,
wow, thank you.
I think it's so cool. So
wow.
Thank you for joining me, and hopefully we can dive more into the rest of the stuff soon.
It's absolutely my pleasure, and I'm so grateful we become friends and get to have these amazing conversations.
Long, deep conversations. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Hey!